Let's party.
All right, Matt. Hey, congratulations!
Thank
Season
you very, very much.
season three of Lopez versus Lopez. This is such an exciting show. I've watched every single episode since episode one.
I love that. Thank you.
We have to hear it from you now. Now we're heading into season three, and we could actually say that this is a successful show. So, what do you suppose is the secret to success for Lopez versus Lopez?
Um, well, I think the secret to success is being relatable and being seen by people who are kind of living the same things or have lived the same things. And I think a lot of times with multicam, it's a lot of episodes will be standalone things, whereas we do have a narrative. George is dealing with sobriety, Selenis is dealing with a breakup, we're dealing with a soon marriage. And so I think it's the further we go, the more we're tackling these topics that otherwise wouldn't be considered funny, and we're finding a way to bring light to that. And so I think people see themselves in that, and I think that the more people watch, the more they see themselves in this family, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I've watched 25 episodes in a row, and I can't stop, and we love that.
I was going to say 25 episodes. I feel like that's already two seasons.
Yeah, it is. It's just about yeah.
Now, of course, season two ended with the engagement. Doesn't that change the whole dynamic of this show, or at least particularly with your character?
It does, yeah. I think with that engagement, Quinten finally felt like he was a part of this family. He wasn't expendable anymore. I don't think he was ever afraid that Mayan would leave him, but it was kind of always on his mind that he wasn't sure what the next day would bring. Whereas I think this is kind of has brought more of a commitment, and so he feels more comfortable in the family, and he doesn't. George has spent all this time ragging on him and making fun of him and stuff. And now that he feels a little more comfortable being in this family, he's kind of giving it back to George. And I think that's been, for me at least, that's been a lot of fun to be able to kind of not be frightened with every line, but rather fed up with every line. And that's been kind of a big shift for Quinten. So I think he just feels more comfortable and more actually part of the family.
How does this change your chemistry with Mayan on the show now?
Well, it's her and I from day one. After I got the job, we went and had coffee, and from day one, we kind of were like, okay, we're on this journey together, and we are each other's support system. And so it's been both on and off set. It's been really cool watching both of us grow, and then never being afraid to talk to each other because we've always had each other's backs. And if I'm having a tough day or if she's having a tough day, we'll take a second. We talk to each other in our dressing rooms and calm down, and then we go back out there. And so it's become this partnership that really Quinten and Mayan have become. And so it's like it's art imitating life, and the feeling closer, feeling more comfortable, feeling more supported. And that's been great.
Now, it's easy to guess that this season between Quinten and Mayan, it's going to be all about wedding preparations. There's going to be a lot of wedding jokes. Is that the theme that you're hearing? I know there's a few episodes that they're still writing on, but doesn't weddings end a series or a show?
Um, Possibly. Maybe we'll just never get there. No, I think the wedding is the centerpiece of this season. But you have George, who's still struggling with sobriety and also realizing that he's getting older and having to come to terms with mortality. And Rosie is dealing with a breakup of somebody she thought she was going to spend the rest of her life with. And I think that, with this started, it was this father and daughter trying to mend things. And when they finally kind of mended things, you'd think that would be the season. But we found something else. And so for me, a marriage really just kind of signifies like a whole new show to be had within that show where there's no talk of it anymore. This is the family, and now they're going through what every family goes through on a day-to-day basis. So that's definitely the centerpiece, but it's really kind of everybody has their own stories this season, whereas I think season one and two had very specific things that a narrative that we were going through with each character, whereas now it's kind of split off a little bit and everybody's going through their own separate things, helping each other through that.
What I love about this show is that I feel like you guys are a real family, on screen. But can you tell us about this cast being a family on set and how you guys adapted for the past, gosh, going on 3 seasons now.
I've had a few opportunities to be a part of shows like this, and I can honestly say, even with the COVID of it all, we all met each other for the first time at the table read day one of the pilot, and somehow in that moment, it literally everything clicked, and everybody is so supportive of each other, and everybody is so open to everybody's ideas, and they always say, oh, well, we feel like a family, but we really, really do feel like a family because, I mean, I went to Ireland with George and Al over the summer, and I spent 2 weeks with them in Ireland. And like, I've never really done that with any cast members. And because we've gone 3 seasons, I've become very close with crew members and things like that. And so the more you do, the closer you come. And it's funny because one of the things is like, the more you do, usually you'll start hearing these stories about certain cast members don't like each other, they're dealing with drama. We have none of that. Nobody has an ego on our set. Everybody is so fortunate to be working right now and to be working on something that we all love, that it's just easy. We all show up an hour early to work because we love being around each other.
Now, I do have to mention is Bryce is such an adorable child on this show, and I feel like I'm watching him grow up, and you are literally with him growing up. Tell us about working with him, and has he changed in your opinion through these past couple of years?
He has. He's so smart, and I constantly make a joke that he's like 36 and he's just pretending to be 9, but like he's the smartest, funniest kid I've ever met, and he has such a pure heart, and everybody is so protective of that. And especially this season, like you can tell he's getting older, and he's asking a lot more questions, and he's taking in different information stuff. I hurt myself at one point, and I got a little emotion about it, and I looked over, and he started getting emotional, which made me even more emotional because I was like, no, you're not supposed to see me like this. Like this is no, but we spend more time together. We play games at lunch, and I play guitar. He'll come into my room and he's just strumming on my guitar. He doesn't know how, but he's just having. So we've just come a lot closer, and it's been really cool. I've never had the opportunity to work with somebody of that age and watch them grow up every year, and so having that opportunity to watch this kid become like just an incredible person has been one of the highlights of this show for me.
Absolutely. And one last thing, I want to mention that I actually sat in the studio audience one time watching you guys, and it was the Christmas episode, and that was such a great episode, by the way. Um, do you feed on the energy of a live studio audience when it comes to sitcoms like this, and how do you cope with it?
100%. And it's funny. So you saw that episode. That was in the first season. When we were doing the first season, the show for the most part hadn't come out yet, and so most of our audience was kind of just people coming to see what is this show, what is it all about. Now we're on episode 40 or whatever, and it feels like everybody who's coming to the show watches the show nonstop. So the crowds, the audience themselves have become louder and more involved. And we had one episode where there was a bunch going on, and I look over at Rosie and I was like, it feels like we're on Jerry Springer, because if somebody's like, well, I thought you were supposed to do that, and the whole audience is like, oh, and you have to the breaks between lines become longer because you have to kind of service the laugh. And but it's also been good because we're in such a good routine that once the audience comes, we already have shot everything essentially, and so we're just shooting it for them, and we get to kind of play around a little more. We get to try things that we weren't doing the past few days, and so it's with every audience show it becomes more fun because it becomes more of like we're all in this together now. And so yeah, it's been so fun.
You know what? It's always been fun. Speaking to you about Lopez versus Lopez. So, Matt, thank you very much for speaking to me about season three of Lopez versus Lopez. If NBC is listening, you better send me live studio tickets again because I want to watch another taping. So, thank you.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna have to come back.
Appreciate it. Next time. Thank you.
Thank you.